What if we told you that one of the most powerful beings ever created by God fell so far from grace that his actions forever altered the course of history? This is the story of Azazel. In the ancient heavens, before the dawn of human civilization, God made a monumental decision. He created a group of celestial beings called the Grigori, also known as the Watchers. These beings were not ordinary angels. They were pure, powerful, and loyal entities tasked with an extraordinary mission: to observe humanity from the heavens, to watch over their every move, and to ensure that the divine order was maintained on earth. Among these watchers was Azazel, a seraph of immense power and authority, chosen to lead this legion of angels. For countless generations, the Grigori fulfilled their duties with unwavering dedication. They watched humanity evolve, observed their struggles and triumphs, and reported back to God. Their role was crucial in maintaining the delicate balance between the divine and the mortal realms. But as time passed, something began to change within the hearts of these celestial beings. The Watchers, who had once been content with their heavenly roles, started to envy the humans they were watching. They longed for the freedom, the passions, and the earthly pleasures that humans enjoyed. This growing dissatisfaction among the Watchers found a voice in Azazel. Tired of his celestial duties and filled with the desire to experience life as humans did, Azazel proposed a radical idea to his fellow Watchers. He suggested that they descend to Earth, abandon their divine mission, and live as men, free from the constraints of heavenly law. The proposal was as shocking as it was tempting. The other Watchers, equally weary and longing for more, eagerly agreed. They made a pact, a vow of loyalty to one another, and together they descended to Earth. When they arrived on Earth, the Watchers, led by Azazel, wasted no time in seeking out the most beautiful women. They seduced them, using their divine charm and otherworldly knowledge to win them over. These unions between the Watchers and human women produced offspring, giant, monstrous beings known as the Nephilim. These creatures, born of both angelic and human blood, were not only physically imposing but also deeply corrupted. They possessed immense strength and a boundless appetite, leading to widespread destruction and chaos across the earth. The Nephilim, with their insatiable hunger, began to devour everything in their path: plants, animals, and eventually, humans. Their cruelty knew no bounds, and their presence on Earth turned what was once a paradise into a living nightmare. As the suffering of humanity grew, so did the cries for help. These cries eventually reached the heavens, where the archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, could no longer stand idly by. Raphael, one of the most powerful archangels, was particularly moved by the suffering on Earth. He approached the throne of God and pleaded for intervention. On Earth, men suffer because of the wicked who have left their place in the heavens to corrupt with men's wives, Raphael said. Do you not see all the injustice and suffering that is on Earth? God, in his infinite wisdom, acknowledged the gravity of the situation and commanded Raphael to gather his forces and seek out Azazel. The mission was clear. Azazel and his followers were to be captured, bound, and cast into darkness, where they would await the final judgment. Raphael, ever obedient, assembled his angels and prepared for the battle to come. This was not just a battle for the fate of Azazel, but for the future of humanity itself. As Raphael and his angels descended to Earth, Azazel knew that his time was running out. He had anticipated this moment, knowing that his actions would not go unpunished. But despite the impending judgment, Azazel did not cower. He prepared for battle, ready to face the archangels and defend the life he had built on earth. The battle that followed was nothing short of cataclysmic. Raphael, with the power of God behind him, faced Azazel in a duel that shook the very foundations of the earth. The forces of heaven clashed with the fallen angels, and the world trembled under the weight of their struggle. Despite Azazel's immense power and the aid of his followers, he could not overcome the divine strength of Raphael. One by one, Azazel's allies were defeated, and eventually, Raphael subdued the once mighty leader of the Watchers. But the story of Azazel is far more complex than just his fall. To truly understand the magnitude of his actions, we must delve deeper into the ancient texts and rituals that mention his name and explore the profound impact he had on the world. Azazel's name appears in the Bible, specifically in Leviticus 16, during the Day of Atonement, the holiest day in the Israelite calendar. This day was critical for maintaining the ritual purity of the tabernacle or temple. The ritual involved 2 goats, one to be sacrificed to Yahweh, and the other, known as the scapegoat, to be sent into the wilderness to Azazel. This ritual, known as the scapegoat ritual, was designed to cleanse the people of their sins by symbolically transferring their guilt onto the goat, which was then sent away, taking the sins with it. But who or what is Azazel in this context? The answer isn't straightforward. In some translations, Azazel is interpreted as the scapegoat itself, while in others, it is treated as a proper name, a supernatural entity residing in the wilderness. This duality has led to much debate among scholars and theologians. Ancient Near Eastern traditions viewed the wilderness as a place of chaos and evil, where malevolent spirits resided. In this light, Azazel is often seen as a demon, a force of chaos opposed to Yahweh, who resided in the purity of the Holy of Holies. The scapegoat ritual was not a sacrifice to this demon, but rather a symbolic act of sending sin and impurity back to its source, away from the divine presence. The Book of Enoch, a non-canonical Jewish text, provides even more insight into Azazel's role. Here, Azazel is not just any demon, but a leader among the fallen angels, a figure who taught humanity the secrets of warfare, weaponry, and forbidden knowledge. This teaching led to humanity's further corruption, making Azazel a central figure in the narrative of the Watchers and the Nephilim. According to the Book of Enoch, Azazel's actions were so heinous that all sin was ascribed to him. The archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, pleaded with God to intervene, leading to Azazel's ultimate punishment. Raphael was tasked with binding Azazel and casting him into the desert abyss, where he would be kept until the final judgment. This narrative paints Azazel not only as a corrupting influence, but as a scapegoat of sorts, bearing the weight of all sin and being cast away into darkness. If you're finding this story as fascinating as we are, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. But who exactly was Azazel before his fall, and how did he come to be associated with such darkness? In some Jewish interpretations, Azazel's name has been linked to the idea of a rugged or strong god, with Azaz meaning strong or rugged and El meaning God. This interpretation connects Azazel with the cliffs from which the scapegoat was said to have been pushed in the ritual, symbolizing the removal of sin. This link between Azazel and the wilderness further cements his role as being associated with the rejection and expulsion of impurity from the community. Interestingly, the idea of Azazel as a demonic figure extends beyond the Bible and the Book of Enoch. In Islamic tradition, Azazel is sometimes considered the original name of Iblis, the devil, before his fall from grace. According to some Islamic scholars, Azazel was once a jinn, a being of smokeless fire who was elevated to the ranks of the angels because of his piety. However, his pride and refusal to bow to Adam led to his expulsion from heaven and his transformation into Iblis. the chief of the devils. This association of Azazel with Iblis further emphasizes the theme of pride and rebellion in his story. Like Iblis, Azazel's downfall was caused by his refusal to submit to divine authority and his desire to assert his own will over that of God. This parallel between Azazel and Iblis also highlights the universal nature of the myth of the fallen angels, a theme that appears in various religious traditions around the world. The Apocalypse of Abraham, another ancient text, provides a different perspective on Azazel. In this text, Azazel is depicted as a demonic figure who opposes Abraham's sacrifice and is associated with the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Now, this depiction of Azazel as a tempter and adversary to God's chosen people reinforces his role as a force of evil and corruption. The text also describes Azazel as a bird that sabotages Abraham's sacrifice, further emphasizing his role as an agent of chaos and disorder. Throughout these various interpretations and stories, one theme remains consistent. Azazel's fall was a turning point, a moment that forever changed the relationship between the divine and the mortal world. His defiance, his imparting of forbidden knowledge, and his ultimate punishment by the archangels serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of straying from the divine path. But Azazel's influence wasn't confined to ancient texts. Over time, his name and story were absorbed into various religious and cultural traditions. In some Jewish mystical traditions, Azazel is associated with the concept of the other side, a realm of impurity and evil that stands in opposition to the holiness of God. This association further underscores Azazel's role as a symbol of chaos and disorder, a being who embodies everything that is opposed to the divine order. In other interpretations, Azazel is seen as a tragic figure, a once powerful angel who fell from grace due to his own desires and ambitions. This view of Azazel as a tragic hero adds a layer of complexity to his story, making him more than just a simple villain. Instead, he becomes a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and the consequences of defying the divine will. Yet, despite his punishment, the question remains: was Azazel merely a scapegoat, bearing the sins of others? Or was he truly the architect of his own downfall? The ambiguity surrounding his story leaves much to the imagination, allowing each tradition to interpret his role in different ways. In some versions, Azazel is seen as a malevolent force, intent on corrupting humanity and opposing the divine order. In others, he is a being who was driven by his own desires and ultimately paid the price for his rebellion. Regardless of the interpretation, Azazel's story is a powerful narrative about the consequences of rebellion, the weight of sin, and the struggle between order and chaos. The impact of Azazel's fall was not limited to his own fate. The knowledge he imparted to humanity of war, weapons, and forbidden arts remained long after he was bound in the abyss. This knowledge continued to influence the course of human history, leading to wars, conflicts, and the spread of violence across the earth. Even as Azazel lay bound in darkness, his legacy lived on, a testament to the enduring power of the knowledge he shared. As we conclude this exploration of Azazel's story, it's important to reflect on the broader implications of his tale. Azazel represents more than just a fallen angel. He embodies the eternal struggle between good and evil, the dangers of forbidden knowledge, and the consequences of defying the divine will. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the mythology of Azazel and the impact of his fall, don't forget to click on the next video for more captivating stories from the world of mythology.